Some promotional consideration provided by coyoteradio.csusb.edu. Coyote Radio, playing local bands 24/7.
Hey there, music fans. I'm your host, Manel Michelle, and you are watching The Musicology Show. On today's show, we have a Rise Roots and Joy reunion. You don't want to miss it, so keep it locked right here on Musicology.
Descendants of the great Zimbabwe, we are the Sioux Aborigines, the real Guanahatabe. Bringing the alarm in the darkness of the night. In the face of fear, we are guided by the light. Perfect opportunity, Jah people stand and fight. In peace we must unite, yeah. We are indigenous people. We are indigenous people. We are all indigenous people. Yes, we are indigenous people. So they come with the guns and the bombs, forcing the peaceful protesters to run along, run along. Together we resist your violence. Complacency is birthed in silence. Water is life, so warriors be strong, be strong. Hey. We are indigenous people. We are indigenous people. We are all indigenous people. indigenous people. Standing Rock, we are standing with you. Standing Rock, we are standing with you. Standing Rock, we are standing with you.
So, what is music? Reggae is a music genre that originated in Jamaica and developed from ska and rocksteady in the 1960s. A 1968 single by Toots and the Maytals, Do the Reggae, was the first popular song to use the word reggae, effectively naming the genre and introducing it to a global audience. The beat was distinctive from rocksteady in that it dropped a smooth, soulful sound that characterized slick American R&B and instead was closer to US Southern funk. Early 1968 was when the first bona fide reggae records were released, Nanny Goat by Larry Marshall and No More Heartaches by the Beltrones. While sometimes used in a broad sense to refer to most types of popular Jamaican dance music, the term reggae more properly describes a particular music style that was strongly influenced by rhythm and blues, especially the New Orleans R&B practiced by Fats Domino. The shift from rocksteady to reggae was clearly illustrated by the distinctive organ shuffle pioneered by Jamaican musicians like Jackie Mittoo, Winston Wright, Eric Monty Morris, and Lee Scratch Perry. The pioneers whose song, Long Shot, has been identified as the earliest recorded example of the new rhythm sound that became known as reggae. Reggae usually relates news, social gossip, and political comment. Reggae was first as Rudy Blues, then ska, later blue beats, and then rocksteady. Reggae's great advantage was its almost limitless flexibility, from the early jerky sound of Lee Perry's People Funny Boy to the uptown sounds of the Third World's Now That We've Found Love, both very different styles, yet both are instantly recognizable as reggae. Stylistically, the genre of reggae music is led by the drum and bass. Some key players in this sound are Jackie Jackson from Toots and the Maytals, Carlton Barrett from Bob Marley and the Wailers, Lloyd Brevitt from the Scatolites, Paul Douglas from Toots and the Maytals, Lloyd Knibb from the Scatolites, Winston Grennan, Sly Dunbar, and Anthony Denbow Creary from the Upsetters. The bass guitar often plays the dominant role in reggae. The bass sound in reggae is thick and heavy, sung in Jamaican patois and Jamaican English dialects. The Wailers, a band started by Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, and Bunny Wailer in 1963, is perhaps the most recognized band that made the transition through all three stages of early Jamaican popular music: ska, rocksteady, and reggae. Reggae in Africa was boosted by the visit of Bob Marley to Zimbabwe in 1980. Hope you enjoyed this segment of What is Music?
Just realize that injustice hinders all mankind from the beginning of time. Living in a crisis, yeah. Living in a crisis, yeah. We living in a crisis, yeah. We living in a crisis, material wealth the only goal. War and thievery have made them madman. Don't gain the whole world and lose your soul. Somewhere there's a family living on the street. The story's getting old, with no clothes on the back and no shoes on the feet. For when it gets cold, living in a crisis, yeah. Living in a crisis, yeah. We living in a crisis, yeah. crisis, yeah. Living in a crisis, yeah. We 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 living in a crisis, yeah. Crisis, yeah.
Hello, this is Indiana Rob on Route 66, and this is a Musicology History Tidbit!
It's Musicology.
Hey team, Sammy Davis Jr. was born in 1925 in Harlem, New York. He was part of the Will Maston Trio, a bunch of vaudeville performers that included his uncle and father. In 1943, Sammy Davis Jr. joined the Army at 17 years of age. He overcame severe racism and even beatings to learn to read and write. Sammy recalled in his book, "Sergeant Williams was my savior. I owe him my life. He tempered all the humiliation I felt for my unit. He distracted me from all my rage, all my anger. I wouldn't have survived the Army without him." In 1954, right here in Route 66 on the corner of Cajon and Kendall, Sammy Davis Jr. was traveling from Las Vegas to Los Angeles when he accidentally ran into the back of a vehicle. He smashed his face against the steering wheel, almost losing both of his eyes. After the accident, Sammy Davis Jr. went to San Bernardino's Community Hospital. Dr. Hull could only save one of Sammy's eyes. While at Community Hospital, Sammy met a Jewish chaplain, which led to his eventual conversion to Judaism, and his famous joke that he was the only black Puerto Rican one-eyed Jew in all of Hollywood. In Sammy Davis Jr.'s bibliography in black and white, it was revealed that his mother wasn't even Puerto Rican. She was Cuban, and Sammy hid it so it wouldn't affect his Hollywood career. At the time, there was much anti-Castro sentiment. In 1958, Sammy Davis Jr. held a benefit concert at San Bernardino's famous Swing Auditorium, and they earned back in that time $30,000 for a new wing at the hospital. In the 1960s, Sammy Davis Jr. was a famous member of the Rat Pack, performing with the likes of Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Marilyn Monroe. Sammy Davis Jr. was a civil rights trailblazer and was even threatened with a hit by the Hollywood mob if he married starlet Kim Novak. According to one account, the Hollywood mob said they would break both Sammy's legs, poke his other eye out, and bury him in a hole if he didn't marry a black woman right away. In 1958, Sammy Davis Jr. paid Lorraine White $20,000 to marry him. Unfortunately, the marriage only lasted a few months. In the 1960s, Sammy Davis Jr. married Swedish actress Mai Britt. Then after stumping and campaigning for President Kennedy, he was even uninvited to the White House just because of his interracial marriage. Entertainer, ladies' man, and civil rights hero Sammy Davis Jr. passed away in 1990 due to throat cancer. The Vegas Strip darkened its lights for 10 minutes, just in Sammy Davis Jr.'s honor. Once again, I'm Indiana Rob, and that's the Musicology History Tidbit!
Musicology. Them be the raka shaka, brah.
You got away with the words, just what to say to make things better and help me know everything's alright.
You've got away with love. You shower me, baby, and still you think that it's not enough. It's always just because.
You got a way about you, baby, a love that is wild and it drives me crazy. No other one will ever love me the way you do. You've got a way. And you got a way with romance. You got me yearning, lover, just for another chance to be with you.
You've got away, baby. It seems all you do is you try to amaze me, but can't you see? You bring out the best in me.
You got a way about you, baby, a love that is wild and it drives me crazy. No other one will ever love me the way you do. You got a way. You got a way. You got a way.
Oh, when I kissed you underneath that sky,
There were fireworks shining in your eyes.
I knew then we were bound for love.
You were my angel sent from above. You got a way about you, baby, a love that is wild and it drives me crazy. No other one will ever love me the way you do. You got a way about you, baby, a love that is wild and it drives me crazy. No other one will ever love me the way you do. You got a way.
So, what is music? Other significant reggae pioneers include Prince Buster, Desmond Decker, and Ken Booth. Another pioneer was Millie Small, born October 6, 1946, a Jamaican singer-songwriter best known for her 1964 Blue Beat ska cover of My Boy Lollipop, which was a smash hit internationally. Notable Jamaican producers influential in the development of ska into rocksteady and reggae include Coxsone Dodd, Lee Scratch Perry, Leslie Kong, Duke Reed, Joe Gibbs, and King Tubby. American artist Johnny Nash's 1968 Hold Me Tight has been credited with putting reggae in the American charts. Around the same time, reggae influences were starting to surface in the rock and pop music, one example being 1968's Obla Di Obla Da by the Beatles. In 1972, reggae's influence bubbled up to the top of US Billboard's Hot 100 charts. First, Three Dog Night hit number 1 in September with a cover of the Maytones version of Black and White. Then Johnny Nash was at number 1 for 4 weeks with I Can See Clearly Now. Paul Simon's singer Mother and Child Reunion, a track which he recorded in Kingston, Jamaica, with Jimmy Cliff's backing group, was ranked by Billboard as the number 57 song of 1972. In 1973, the film The Harder They Come, starring Jimmy Cliff, was released and introduced Jamaican music to cinema audiences outside of Jamaica. Eric Clapton's 1974 cover of Bob Marley's I Shot the Sheriff made it onto the playlist of mainstream rock and pop radio stations worldwide. Clapton's I Shot the Sheriff used modern rock production and recording techniques and faithfully retained most of the original reggae elements. It was a breakthrough pastiche devoid of any parody and played an important part in bringing the music of Bob Marley to a wider rock audience. In 2008, Jamaican Prime Minister Bruce Golding made February Reggae Month in Jamaica. Reggae has come a long way and shows no intention of slowing down. Reggae history is immense and we can go on for hours, but that's all the time we have for now. Hope you enjoyed this segment of What is Music?
I know that you're lonely. Well, baby, I'm coming home. Been driving through all night down the 395. And I've been gone so long, but you never left my mind. You're the only one I want by my side. I'm making you this promise for the rest of my life. I will never leave, I will never leave, I will never leave you lonely again. Let's put a record on, baby, and see where this goes. And sip of some fine wine and take it nice and slow. Don't need to rush this moment, we ain't got nothing but time. You're the only one I want by my side. I'm making you this promise for the rest of my life. I will never leave, I will never leave, I will never leave you lonely again. Leave you lonely. Oh, and I've been running for miles and miles just to find my way back home. And the sun is rising and I'm finding with you is where I belong. And all this time it was you all along. You're the only one I want by my side. I'm making you this promise for the rest of my life. I will never leave, I will never leave, I will never leave you lonely. You're the only one I want by my side. I'm making you this promise for the rest of my life. I will never leave, I will never leave, I will never leave you lonely again. Oh, leave you lonely, never again. I know that you're lonely, but baby, I'm home.
Once again, I'm Manel Michelle, and you watched another amazing episode of the Musicology Show. If you think you have what it takes to be on this show, then submit your music to musicologyie.com, and who knows, you might be featured on this show right here with me. Until next time.
Make the world
anything I want?
taste good. Candyman, Candyman,
The Candyman gone.
Thank you very much, lady.
Sit back, relax, and close your eyes.